So welcome back, and now we're going to look at project description. But before we do that, because that's basically activity 4, I'm going to do a quick review on activities 1 to 3. Activities 1 was appoint the sponsor, so figure out who that person is and appoint them. Then for the same for the project manager. And then activity 3 is identify other high-level stakeholders that could be important for the project as well, or normal stakeholders. Okay, so we're going to use this information in activity 4 as well. So activity 4 is to do with the project description. Okay, so we provide a template, or P3.express provides a very simple template. This is it. So you can add in the project name, then you can add in some information on the purpose and expected benefits. So what's the purpose of the project, the expected costs and duration, the requirements and quality expectations, and our stakeholder list as well, which we have included over here. So let's fill this in. This is the template, or it's a template that I use when I am teaching, let's say P3.express. And I have some prompt questions for each section here to make it easy for you to know what to fill in. So it's kind of makes it easy to facilitate this in front of other people. You just ask these questions and the answer to these questions, then you can put that information in here. Now normally we would start with why this project, but since we have the stakeholder information already, let's start to fill this in here. So list all the stakeholders that we have. Okay, so first, who would make a good sponsor? So we need somebody high up in the organization, someone who can make high-level decisions as well. So that can be the CFO. So Robert Geldof, he can do that. Great. For the project manager, that's easy. That's Michelle. She takes care of all the projects like that. Then we want someone to represent the users, so someone who appreciates the people who are going to use the software, the systems, and somebody who knows how people think when they come to do driving tests as well. So a good person to do that will be somebody involved in sales, and we will use Larry O'Leary, or LOL, to do this. Consultants, these are mostly outside people or even internal people who can actually add further information to the project as well. A good example is Patrick Joyce. He's an external IT guy who takes care of all projects like this. So he's basically our most important person. You can see him as a supplier. And then for project support, well, as we have an admin support for the project manager, and we will use Will Yates to do that. Okay, so that's the stakeholder list for the moment, and we can add this later during the project, but for now it's fairly good. Next then is why this project. So I provide this information, as I said, so let's go through the questions here. Why is this project being done? Okay, that's a good question. What's the opportunity? That's a good question as well. Is it linked to the mission and strategy? Well, I didn't give you that information yet, and this kind of company doesn't probably have one, but survive, I suppose, is a good mission or strategy. So we'll mainly be focused on the top two. So why is this project being done? Well, we understand there's certain pain that we're going through because we're losing 4% every year. What's the opportunity? Well, there's an opportunity to start growing again. So we want to get to 10%. So let's see how we can put that. So we can say that the pain is we have a reduction of 16% over the last 6 years in turnover of clients. We wish to gain 10% clients for 3 years. That would be great if we can actually do that. And if we do that, then this is probably linked to the third one, is we want to secure the future of the business as well. That would be super if we could do that. That's it then for why this project. The next section then is requirements and quality expectations. So here we want to focus on the major requirements. So stay high level and the quality expectations and not on the nitty-gritty functions that people will actually do. So here the project manager will facilitate this, and they will ask, let's say, Larry and the consultant, well, what's important in here? So help me to define this, and they'll start to fill in this together. And Larry can say something like, well, actually we have questions already, we have 300 questions already, but those need to be verified, and then we can add these to the exam simulator. So probably the first thing we'll write down is we need an exam simulator, that code, we'll put that in there. Then we needed 300 questions, multiple choice questions that we can put in. Then what else? If a person gets a question wrong, It would be nice if there was support information for each question so they could learn from this. So let's put that in there as well. One of the goals of the project, of course, is to get more social media presence and to get more people to be aware that we exist as a company, and so they can sign up for more lessons. So we need a link with Facebook and to allow people to share the information with Facebook. So that's something which Larry will be really insisting on because he wants that social media awareness. So share results in Facebook is important. Also, it would be nice to have the stats overview. Again, this would probably come from a person like Larry. He would say, I'd like to know the number of people that are using this tool, how many times they have used it, and the average score that they get. So let's put that down. Then what else? Then the big one, Larry, of course, will insist on, well, all right, I want them to book their first lesson. So we have to have a page for that. And so they can book a first driving lesson, and then we have to make them pay for it, because if we make them just sign up but they don't turn up, then we lose some money for that. So it would be good if they could put a down payment for their first lesson as well. So we have to have a payment mechanism, and we're going to use PayPal to do that. Okay, and that's actually a very nice overview on requirements and quality expectations. And again, the role of the project manager is to extract this information themselves from these stakeholders, not just fill this in, but this information comes from the stakeholders. So, all right, so that's it for that one. So the next box we will fill in is expected cost and duration. So Bobby just mentioned one thing here. This is just a first version of the project description. So as we learn more about the project, this can slightly change. Okay, so it's not just that we have to define it once and that's it. No, it can continue to change, provided, of course, certain people agree with those changes. So expected costs and duration. So what are the costs or the expected costs of the project that we think right now, because we don't really know, we're just making an estimate. Probably the future maintenance cost of keeping this up and running would also be good to be aware of. What is the expected return on investment of this project? So when do we think we're going to get our money back? And the duration of the project and any constraints or contract obligations. All right, so let's start to fill in this. The first thing we can look at is the estimated costs. We think they're going to be about 6,000. As we learn more, of course, this can change. The yearly maintenance cost will be 1,500 to keep everything up and running. That's a good estimate, or it's a high estimate, so hopefully it can be lower. We expect to have a return on investment definitely within the 12 months. So and we get that by selling more lessons to first timers, and then when they add more lessons, then that will help to pay this back. Okay, and the project duration, we believe for the moment it can be done in 3 months, and Patrick has given us this information here. He says based on these requirements here, I definitely can do this within 3 months. So that's a nice overview of the expected costs and duration. Now again, this is our project description. We fill this in at the very beginning of the project. As we learn more about the project, some items can change in here, but then and they should be changed. But of course, these people have to agree, and especially the sponsor has to agree, and the user representative, if any of these items change in here. Okay, they must be kept up to date on this, because it's got to give a good idea on what the outcome of the project will actually be. That was it then for our fourth activity in project initiation, which is to describe the project description. Okay. Next, we will look at the deliverable map. So here we're going to break down the project, and we're going to use a mind map to do that.